Let's Talk Small Business, the real talk, no BS podcast for business owners and entrepreneurs who want to grow and actually enjoy the ride. I'm Mitchell Wilson. Let's get into it. Today's guest is Chris Carter, one of the top SAP experts globally and founder behind companies like AppRoyo and Mugatu AI. Chris has spent over a decade helping business across more than 55 industries make smarter technology decisions, particularly around SAP, cloud infrastructure, and scaling systems. He's also the author of the best-selling Mastering SAP series and has been recognized by major publications like Forbes and Entrepreneur for his impact in the space. So what I like about Chris's work is that he's in the trenches helping real businesses save time, reduce costs, and build stronger systems that actually support growth. So today we're breaking down how businesses should think about SAP and making tech decisions that don't come back to bite them later. Okay, Chris, let's talk small business.
Let's talk small business because I'm one of those small businesses myself, so I'm happy to do it.
Well, let's get into that. Your journey, your own personal journey into small business. Where did it start and where are you at right now?
Well, it actually started in high school, to be honest with you. I had a business corp class and they asked us to start a business. Well, I started a business class around business cards, but not just regular business cards. I had another class that was not a machining class, but just a class that I had to take for you get past like mechanics and all that kind of stuff. Well, inside that class, I was talking with the professor and they were coming out with this new thing called plastic vellum. So I took plastic vellum and you printed over the top of it and you created business cards. So I would go in there and I would print these sheets of plastic and they were like business cards. And then I would have to cut them and make sure everything was perfect. Well, I sold them to companies around my high school. And literally I would take a fishbowl filled with business cards and two of my cards, put them in there, and I would shake it up and I said, if you can pull out one of my cards, I'll give you some free cards in regards to business cards. And lo and behold, 9 out of 10 times they picked mine because they would feel the different cards. And all of a sudden, that plastic vellum would hit their hand or it would poke them or something. And they would whip it out and be like, this is you. I said, absolutely. Look at whose name's on it. And I had printed up maybe 10 of them in advance of theirs. And so I would give them their cards. And I'd say, if you're interested in any cards, this is what my cost, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it for the school. And lo and behold, almost everybody bought from me. I made it so inexpensive, so that way I could get the easy A in high school. And I started making a little bit of cash because I didn't have to pay for the plastic, I didn't have to pay for the printing, any of it. And it was fantastic. I loved it. So that's where I really started.
Yeah. So from there, from the school project, selling business cards, what led you into, I guess, the tech side of things and maybe SAP?
So I love technology. I got a Commodore VIC-20 when I was in high school. I was one of the only kids in my grade. I'm from the 1980s. So I graduated in 1987. So I had a Commodore VIC-20 and an Apple IIe, and I had a blast with those. So when I went off to school, I brought them with. And I was a computer engineering major and I had a blast. So I started working in different areas and studying in different technologies. Well, all of a sudden my roommate decided he did not like his internship at Coca-Cola. And what it was actually working on an old SAP R2 environment in the bowels of the basement. And if you remember back in the day, these things were monstrosities. These big mainframes took up tons of space and he hated it. He was all alone, didn't want punch cards, blah, blah, blah. Well, I told the professors that we're doing our internship, I will do it. And lo and behold, literally within 24 hours, my butt was in his seat doing it and I was in love. And from that point on, technology ruled my world.
So let's talk about SAP. For those that may be listening and have no idea what we're talking about, because you're either in that world or you're not, just give us a rundown about...
Certainly. Well, SAP is the largest ERP software on the planet, enterprise resource planning. And the interesting thing with that is it is the second largest software company, or it was on the planet behind Microsoft. You had Microsoft, then SAP from an ERP perspective. And so companies use it no matter the size that they are. You can be a one-person company to a multi-billion-dollar company, Boeing, Coca-Cola, Miller Brewing, and such. But there's also smaller companies. I've got 20-person companies, Contango Oil, that use SAP for their tracking and such, because it really puts everything in one nice, neat, clean database. And then you just extrapolate HR, finance, shipping, receiving, warehouse management, all from that one database. So you're all on one system of truth. And that's the beauty of an SAP system. Now, I don't build the system. The Germans and everybody else build it. We just manage, run, and support, and then sell the systems to help customers better their organizational structure and get it all in a nice, clean box and ready to go.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So, and it's good that you simplified that for everybody as well.
Hope I did.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I need to ask, when it comes to business, now you've worked across so many industries, like, 50 plus. What patterns do you see in how businesses approach technology decisions nowadays?
Well, that's a great question because I see it every day. But no matter who I talk to from a business structure, they're all trying to find cost savings. They're all trying to find discrepancies in their organizational structure where they can weed out the badness and bring in more goodness. They're all trying to get into the AI some way, shape, or form. And that's one thing that every application that is out there, they're all trying to simplify the way that they bring in data, ingesting that data, and using that data for their organization. They're all trying to, of course, save IRS taxes or wherever country you're in, tax bases. They're already trying to get more dollar out of each dollar. So instead of getting 80 cents out of the dollar, they're trying to get 82 cents out of a dollar or 85 cents. And the consolidation activity that they're trying to do and really trying to consolidate activities around their technology, the more that you can get one application or a few applications running your business rather than 50. If you remember back in the day, I'm of a certain age now, being almost 57. I remember when the x86 computers came out, and all of a sudden, everybody and their grandmother had a software application that would go on my Dell computer or my IBM computer. And I was trying to figure out, well, wait a second, doesn't that do that? And I've already got that for that. Why do I need that if I need? And it was horrible. And now with AI coming into the picture, I'm trying to help companies be like, you know what? You don't need those anymore. You need to make sure you upgrade this because this is inside of this, and this is what you've been using, and this is what you will use for the next 20 years. So there's a lot of little nuances with those that are really trying to get the help and benefit for organizations, no matter whatever size they are.
So, what separates those businesses that get the tech right from those that just struggle with it?
This is probably going to get me some bad fan mail, let's say. But if you're a younger CIO or someone under 50, you're used to these types of tools. If you're somebody that's over 50 and you're a CIO, IBM never got me fired from the companies I've been at. If you're that type of a person and you're not willing to make the changes and adjustments that are going to benefit your company, you're probably going to have some heartache with it. It's funny. I've got a client that I work with. I'm 57, as I stated, almost 57. They've got a CIO who's 27. And this young man is willing to go out into the nth degree. Now, he and I are very smart in the same way. We do not do bleeding edge, but we like cutting edge. And he is all about the cutting edge tools to come into the company. And he's really revolutionized to the point he knew that he had a very old technology staff and a very old employee staff. So as they start to retire and go away, he's not replacing them because he's got the tools and the bots and the applications that either he's built or his team has built to help them automate those processes. And so that automation is kicking in and all those activities. And that's pretty cool for me. I love seeing that coming down the pipe because then I know business is going to be pretty cool after that.
I love it. I love it. And I guess it's always moving. Is it moving faster, technology today?
Oh God, yes. I feel like just yesterday I had hair and now I don't have hair today because it's gone so fast. It's every day. Well, look at what came out today. There was a new ChatGPT 4.6 that came out today, and we literally just got 4.5 a couple of months ago. And this one's for the graphics and the image activities. Then you've got new stuff with Claude, and you've got new stuff with the Mythos problems that's coming up. So it is faster than I've ever seen it before. And I equate it back to the point I made reference earlier about my Apple IIe and my Commodore VIC-20. I remember finally getting the AOL disk and being able to utilize that. Then I got the AOL floppy. Then all of a sudden it was a secondary telephone line and I didn't have to worry. Then all of a sudden it was just a dedicated line. Then I was buying routers and hubs. It's faster than that. And that it's 1987. So we're only 40 years into it. And this stuff is changing every single week.
Okay. Well, let's talk about SAP a little bit. And I know, look, that the larger businesses, that's kind of like where they play. But let's sort of talk about when and why to maybe move to SAP or the cloud. Like, what are some sort of clear signals that a business maybe is outgrowing their current systems?
Really good question. And I don't get that one. So that's a good question to come up with. So when companies are starting to grow up, let's say employee wise, revenue wise, structure wise, a lot of us entrepreneurs, we start at the flames are at our backside. We're just running, shaking. We're trying to sell. We're trying to build, trying to do the things we need to do. But what's interesting is when you take a step back and you're able to slow down and relax, you're all of a sudden realizing, oh my God, I'm using 20 different tools for things that I don't need. When you're ready to consolidate and you're ready to have one database of truth and one system, no matter if you use SAP or Oracle or whatever the tools are, but when you're ready to consolidate that down and you want to have consistency and you want to have that database of truth and you want to be able to get all of your departments, it reminds me of a couple of folks asked me a question one time about why didn't I hire fast enough? And I didn't hire a CIO fast enough or a CFO or others. Those tools, if I would have had those tools in place, I may not have hired even faster. And those tools help you make those decisions because you're going to have a chief finance officer, you're going to have the chief operating officer, the revenue officers. They all want to see the same information, just in a different format. And you can't do that if you've got 20, 30 different applications. If you've got one main application that has all that together, that's where you benefit. And then you start to take off. Then you start to see you as an organization, things get cleaned up inside your organization. That's a huge relief for us as CEOs. Then you start to see people using the tools to benefit their part of the organization and helping others within the organization. And that's a huge relief as well. So then it really comes down to helping.
So can you think of an example, like a real example of a business that maybe made the switch at the right time? We don't need to use names, but just an example of industry or business.
Yeah, I have got as a matter of fact, a great client that I've had for many, many years. They were on a Microsoft by Design system, and they're an oil and gas organization out of the Permian Basin down in Oklahoma area, such. And they were using multiple systems. Plus, they had been bought and sold a couple of times, so they had other systems that were in there. And there was this whole conflict going on. And I just met them at the right time with the right people and the right activities, and we started talking. And I said, well, I can merge all that and take all that data and put it into one environment. And all you have to do is you've got people that are going to use the maintenance module. You're going to have the finance module, the HR module. You don't have to have a large system. You're 20 people in the company. Maybe if you're using 15 licenses, I can do something with that. And so we consolidated it down. And lo and behold, they were just all happy as heck because there was so many different moving parts inside there that the internal staff members, even though they were a small company of 20 or less, they were having issues because they would have to log into one, then log into the other, maybe do a download, then do another upload. And it was just brutal for them. And I'm glad that as a small business owner, I was able to help another small business owner because those are the little things. It doesn't have to always be complex or expensive if you have the right people talking to you about what you need and because they're listening to you, not just trying to sell you something.
And of course, you mentioned oil. I feel like I'm an oil expert now because I'm currently watching Landman. So
I love Landman.
yeah. Okay, so you mentioned this right now about like businesses and maybe some waste in there, wasting money. So where do you see businesses wasting the most money when it comes to tech?
When it comes to tech, it's usually extra software layers that they don't need to have, or it's the problem that they haven't updated their software in a lot of years. A lot of small businesses are one man shops in the IT area. And to keep up with all the security, all of the patches, all of the updates that are going on out there is very difficult. And then all of a sudden, your licenses come due. And you're like, oh, I'll catch up with it. And all of a sudden, you're like 6 months in, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't update my license. Is it more than a credit card? Is it a PO? What do I need to do? How do I need to go about doing it? And those are the things that I see waste a lot of times. Because there's a lot of times when, if you're on a version that's 2 years old, you're so out of date that you might have to do a net new install and clean up completely. And that's just the way that the technology is rolling these days.
So let's say someone is about to invest into a major tech upgrade. What are the first three key things they should get right?
So a major tech upgrade. So let's just say they're going to go from some like a Microsoft by Design or something, and they want to go to SAP. So the first thing you need to do is let's have some communication. It needs to start at the top of the organization, and it needs to funnel its way down. The leader of your organization must buy in 100% and be involved and communicate that to the entire organization, the whys, the whats, the hows. Because if that doesn't happen, you're going to have stops and goes. You're going to have slowness. You're going to have problems. Communication is the number one thing. Now let's talk about the technologies itself. Once you're communicating that we're doing this and you've already picked the tool, that tool needs to be specific to what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, your industry. Sometimes SAP is not the right tool. Sometimes Oracle's not. And it happens with AI tools all the time. People think that they can just throw an AI tool out there and it's going to solve the world problems of their organization. Not going to happen. Remind me to tell you sometime, Mitchell, about the company that thought they were going to do dashboards using Canva.
I love it.
Can't happen. It doesn't upload data. It doesn't help you with your data activity. So the technology is super important for organizations, and it needs to be directed towards the problem, not just a layer. Oh, I've been told that I should use this technology. I'm going to buy it.
Now, just hold you right there, Chris.
I just noticed it was muted. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's right. We'll carry on again.
Okay. I think it was right at the third spot. And the third spot is the human factor. The fact that employees need to be intimately involved in one way, shape, or form. This is where I go back to the first point of communication from the leadership down. Technology is key to functioning, but the humans, when you've got people that are motivated and excited, so this is why I tell companies, find those diamonds in the rough who love technology for your organization. They don't have to be on the technical team. They might be in finance, they might be in HR, they might be in warehouse. Find those people that want to work on the technology, bring them in, embrace them, get them to be your guiding lights in these projects. Have them go out there and, guys, we are working on something incredible. Oh my God, it is going to revolutionize what we're doing in the trucking industry or the oil and gas industry. Those are the people that literally are going to take that project and just explode it. Because now you've got the top leadership brasses there. You've got these people at the bottom that are just excited to be working on the projects. And the whole team is going to start getting excited. Because part of the problem that we have, and I'll equate this to the SAP side of the house. The SAP side of the house is one of the oldest human factors in technology today. SAP staff members worldwide average 52.7 years of age. They're old. You're not getting a lot of young people coming into SAP because they're all going to AI and cloud and the new cool whiz-bang technologies. So you're losing minds and you're not gaining new creativity and advancements with it. And that's where part of that issue comes in. So if you can get those three and knock them out, man, you're going to have a great, great project.
I love what you're saying there, because it reminds me 20 plus years ago, one of my first jobs was in a bank, and they did have the software change right then. And I was sort of scratching my head because I was a techie. I love this kind of stuff. But I'm sitting there going, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? Because they came from maybe corporate's idea, but not the person on the ground. And so I wish maybe someone to tap me on the shoulder to go, well, what do you think about this?
Wouldn't it be nice to have you sit in those meetings and you could hear what's going on? Maybe you've got an idea and you're willing to share that idea, and then they're maybe willing to listen to those ideas. So it becomes that incestuous relationship of everybody's trying to work together towards a common goal.
Okay, so you've kind of sort of sparked my attention in the, the aging population of the SAP executives, or whatever the word is, that are using it. Does that mean that maybe tech is changing and other options are coming up? Who's up and coming that could be fighting against SAP?
Yeah, that's a great question, because you look at some of the younger up and coming software brands. You've got a Datto that's out there. You've got these Workday, of course, is human HR and finance. Workday is starting to get a little bit more enterprise ERP. Now, remember, Mr. McDermott, I call him Mr. McDermott yet, but it's Bill McDermott, was the CEO of SAP for many years, for over 15 years. And it's one of those things where these players are starting to come in and they're starting to acquire companies and they're starting to put them all together. And that's one of the things that ServiceNow did with those organizations, is they're starting to build those. Workday is starting to do that more. And as SAP tries to become more and more of a cloud AI company, I don't see a lot of companies moving away from them, because that's a very, very heavy and hurtful lift and shift. But I can see them losing out to some of these net new companies that come about that say, you know what? We're making life easier for you. We are built in the cloud for you on the cloud, as these new companies come in. So that's where I see some of the activity coming.
Now, before we got on this call, and you've mentioned it kind of a couple of times, AI, that word. How is AI like changing that SAP landscape?
Well, that's a great question, because I literally, my AI companion for SAP is Joule, and it's on over here on my system. They started out by using Copilot. And so Copilot isn't as great as some of them. It'll get there. It's Microsoft. They'll put the billions of dollars into it. And so the backbone for SAP Joule is Copilot, and it's built into it. So you can do anything with Excel and Word, other pieces. And if you want to do Teams calls, it's all built in. And then Copilot is built in underneath Joule to help with being able to provide with resources, capabilities, directives. And that's why I made reference earlier. The one database of truth is so bloody important, because it gives them the ability for everybody in the organization, including your tools, to have that information at your fingertips and to be able to leverage it, use it in the manner that you want to, as an employee, as an executive, as a business partner with organizations. Even us as partners with companies, we use Joule because it's got its customer support mechanism, where it helps us with understanding their landscape and in answering questions of failure points and activities wrapped around those failure points.
I actually just yesterday I had to do some things on my web domain, and I was just using instructions. I don't totally understand it, but one website said, "Hey, put this into your DNS." Something wasn't working, but the GoDaddy site, I was speaking to an AI bot, and I'll tell you what, it was probably more helpful than the customer support person. It went through everything and figured it out very, very quickly. I was actually super impressed with that just yesterday.
I literally used the same GoDaddy bot a couple of weeks ago, because my new coffee brand just launched. And I was in there doing A and DNS, and I had to put all these. And I was like, okay, I have no idea where it's inside there in GoDaddy. Where is it? And I literally just I hit my function key for my speak to talk, and we just Boom, 5 minutes, done.
I love it. Okay, so when it comes to small business owners, what should they actually pay attention to versus ignore when it comes to all the AI hype?
Yeah. Don't listen to everything. If you're a manufacturing company, get stories. I'm a huge believer in there's these little Google bots that I get every single morning with news articles and articles that are going out there on the web. Get those and put those in place for yourself. They're called Google Alerts, and have that for you. Don't boil the ocean. Focus on what you're working on in your company, in your brand, in your industry, and have those set up for you. Then take that information from a basic artificial intelligence. What do I want to accomplish? Okay, I've got a sales and marketing team. They're going to need Canva, and they're going to need Gamma, and they're going to need these other tools that can help when we go out and present or we're at trade shows and stuff like that. Great, that's over there. I've got coders. I got my coder monkeys, as I like to call them. I used to be one of these guys. I need coder monkeys. So I need Claude, and I need these Anthropic, and I need tools that I can use that I can rebuild in Claude anti-gravity that I can code with, and I can validate my codes and go forward with that. Then I've got dashboards, or I've got something from an HR team or a finance team. Pick and choose specifically for what your needs are, because they don't funnel over each other very well. And it really will help benefit an organization. So be very specific on where you need it in the company and drive the value for your company in that regard.
Okay, so this is all about small business. And I just heard before that you said you've launched a new coffee brand. Tell us
Yes.
what you're doing and what's that side to your
I
entrepreneurial
love
spirit.
launching small businesses. I'm a huge fan of Shopify. I come up with ideas all the time. So this is another one that I've got on Shopify. I've got a pickleball one out there. I've got a faith-based. I've got a coffee, Electric Jolt Coffee Company. And I've traveled the world. I drink so much coffee every day. As a matter of fact, I still have some coffee left over here that it's 5 o'clock at night and I had another cup of coffee.
I've got it right here. Yeah,
There's my man. So I traveled the world and I drank and I ate and with all these friends and partners and business associates. And so I started figuring out what coffees I liked and which ones did what for me as a technologist and as somebody that travels. And so I came up with my own brand, again, Electric Jolt Coffee Company. Please go out and find it. But there are so many cool brands, and then I'm doing discounts and I'm having fun and I'm sending them to folks and I'm sending them to all my tech friends all around the world. Like, you got to try my new coffee. Here's a code. Go get yourself some. And we're technologists. We drink coffee. We drink caffeine. We stimulate ourselves in certain ways. Now, some don't like coffee, and I get that, but coffees, teas, and stuff, it's fun. And I have fun. I make videos. I do. It's funny because this one I said, and I even said it in one of my first videos, we are going to have a blast. Everything AI you see on here is made by me and my AI Gemini friend. Let's have some fun. And I've got people coming in with ideas already of what to do. It's so much fun. And at 57, I love to have fun yet.
I love it. So it's kind of like a hobby by the sounds of it, sort of starting up some Shopify stores.
I do. I've got 6 of them now, and I just love having fun starting them up because as a small business owner, I'm trying to find things that people will like and enjoy. I'm not looking at it for them to make millions of dollars. They may not even make hundreds of dollars. But you know what? It's fun. I learn new things. I learn how to use their technology. And at the end of the day, that's what small business is about. It's about finding things that you find enjoyable, starting it, going forward with it, and trying to help other people or to try to bring something fun to them. And for me, it's bringing these cool videos and advertising with a great cup of coffee.
Okay, so you've actually done this a number of times. I'm just finding out right now. So let's break it down super, super simple. To anyone listening that's gone, oh man, I've got that idea, or I wish I'd done it. Like, how do they just actually start? So first of all, making the decision. But second of all, just what are some simple steps they can do to work this process through?
Certainly. So let's start with the coffee company. I've been traveling around the globe, love coffee, and I just said, you know what? I'm going to do it. So I decided to sign into my Shopify account. I found a drop shipper that does coffee. I built all the logos and promotions and everything because it's super easy inside there. Plus, I have AI that helps me do all that. And literally, if I got stumped, all I did was ask either Shopify's AI or Google's AI, Google Gemini, and it helped me walk through the process. I then picked out all of the products that I liked because I knew that they were like my cowboy blend and my coffee with mushroom in it, which is good for stimulation and stuff. And so I picked out all these different ones. And first of all, you just got to do it. Just go out and do it. It took me literally 12 hours on a Saturday when there was no sports on. And I sat in here and did it. So after you do all that, then you can put in, the store allows you to do different things like your samples, your merch, you want to do coffee mugs, you want to do t-shirts, you want to do all these things. 12 hours of my time, and it's up and running and having fun. And I've already got people signed up for the email account, and I'm going to send it out to every one of my customers and all my clients and all my partners. Guys, if you want it, great. Here's my cheat code. Go ahead and do it. By the way, cheat code is called Spring Break, all capital letters. Get yourself a discount. And for me, it's a blast. I have fun. Where other people would sit in their living room and just watch sports, probably rugby or soccer. Hey, I can do the same thing while I'm watching that if I want.
Okay, so you mention it on your LinkedIn. Let's talk about the Carrick Rangers, because you've got the passion there. You're a business owner. You've now become a minority owner in the Carrick Rangers. So let's tell us about what this is all about.
So this incredible team is the Carrick Rangers, and they just won the Atrium Shield just the other week. So we've got our first trophy of the year as an owner, which is fantastic.
And we're talking about football.
We're talking about football.
Real soccer, football, not American football.
No, this is, well, hey, now be nice. There's a reason why we got the World Cup coming here in a couple weeks. It is a Belfast, Ireland. They're part of the Premier League in Ireland, so which is the top tier. We have the men's team. We have a U20 team. We have an academy. We have women's team. Very fortunate that executive from Nike who left Nike allowed me to buy in as a minority partner. And I am having a blast because they're great people. I love Ireland. I love what the brand stands for. I love what the people stand for. I love what we're trying to do in the world. And it's so much fun for me. I'm a sports guy. I'm starting to wean back in my age now. So I'm starting to build up a portfolio of sports teams and leagues that I'm joining and being a part of. And for me, between the two race drivers, the football team, and now MMA league, it's fantastic times. And coffee. There's a reason why I need coffee.
I can't say I've ever owned a team, but I was the major naming sponsor for a basketball league team for a period of time, for about 3 years. And you know what? It was a whole lot of fun. Yeah.
It really is. I walk around and I chit chat with people. I love asking questions. I want to talk to every single fan that wants to talk to me. They may not know who I am, but I'm going to ask them questions. What do you think of the stands? What do you think of the food? What do you think of this pitch? What do you think of this? Give me some. And it's funny, I was actually on with a gentleman from the UK today doing a meeting, and he made reference to it. And he goes, I grew up over the ocean looking at your stadium, and we're your biggest competitors. And I was like, you've that team that starts with a B, aren't you? And he knew exactly, and he was. So it's wonderful. Great people, great time. I love helping.
Righto. So talking about sort of talking to people and all that kind of stuff, what's the best advice or a piece of advice that you've received about business that's really stuck with you?
Oh, Jiminy Crickets. I would say for me, it was back in the 90s. There was an executive in the Atlanta, Georgia area, Mr. Billy Payne, who was also the chairman for Augusta National. He created and got the Atlanta Committee for the Olympic Games moving forward, and Atlanta got the Olympic Games. And Mr. Payne was a very quiet, reserved, but very sage man, and still is. He's still alive. And his comments about working hard, working harder, being involved, getting yourself involved with more than just yourself, those types of things. Your business is going to grow because you're a part of it and you have a passion for it. You're never going to have anybody as passionate as you doing your business because they work for you. And the thing that you need to realize is your passion is going to drive others' passion to be a part of your organization. So if you can drive passion, you're going to do very well with your company.
Now, of course, you deal with a whole lot of companies in your position in the tech world. What do you think is something that business owners maybe overcomplicate that should be simple?
I'm going to go back to a statement I made a little while ago is they don't hire fast enough. They're thinking about, oh God, I can't afford that. I can't afford. Well, what's going to happen is you're going to put somebody into a CIO role or a CFO role, and you're going to take something off of your plate that you are not very good at. Hi, CFO, HR, not my cup of tea. But I hired people that were really good at that. And what that did is it freed up my time to be able to sell more, and to be able to work with my partners more, and to have conversations more, and to do a lot more with that side of the business, because I knew that these side pieces of the puzzle were being taken care of every day. So you may not have enough now, but maybe you've got enough for a part-time CFO or a part-time HR. There's a lot of area right now where those people are coming into companies and really helping and being a true benefit for companies and for C-level executives in those companies. So look into those, but hire faster for those roles.
Now, you also said before that you like to be on the cutting edge. Maybe not the bleeding edge, but the cutting edge, I think you said.
Yes.
Yeah. So just a little moment now before we go. Where do you see the cutting edge or bleeding edge of technology going in the next, well, it's hard to predict, but let's call it 3 to 5 years?
It's so hard right now because we are so bleeding edge right now, and we have been probably for the last 24 months. I make this reference about where we're at in the technology world right now. As a former baseball player, I'd have to come into the stadium, I'd have to change, take batting practice, take fielding practice, and then play my game. We're not even in, I just got into my locker room and I'm just starting to change when it comes to technology right now. It is evolving, and you and I talked about it earlier, Mitchell. It's moving so fast. So many changes are happening to these tools and the technology. Hell, there is companies that are starting and falling or being bought by somebody else instantaneously. It's incredible. And it's one of the reasons why I started Mugato AI, because I thought, hey, let's get some security for AI technology out there so people can have it. And lo and behold, people are gravitating towards security for AI all of a sudden because of what's going on with Mythos and everything, and the sandwich, they're calling it. So it's one of those things where I don't want to say it scares me, but it does give me some pause, I'll say, because it's going so fast that I don't think people realize how fast it is. Now, remember, the movie Terminator started in 2026. According to the opening scene of Terminator was in 2026. So I'm just throwing that out there and leave everybody on that happy note.
Yeah, I mean, it made me giggle the other day. There's a company that one of the founders was from New Zealand, Allbirds, and they've done shoes. Yeah, and they were big, but all of a sudden they went off the radar. They've had to sell all their assets, and now they've pivoted from a shoe company to an AI company.
To an AI company, yes. CNBC had that on there, and David Faber and Jim Cramer were going ballistic about that and how much money they got because they're now an AI company rather than a shoe company.
So maybe we just, change all our companies to AI companies and we'll be completely fine.
It's crazy right now. There's another one that's going around there that people just say, well, I don't even have a pitch deck yet. This is what we're talking about. And oh, by the way, it's AI. Well, here's $20 million. Why didn't you go figure it out?
Chris, I really appreciate you coming on, breaking this all down. Not only SAP today, but we've got into some cool small business Shopify stuff as well. Now, if people want to learn more about you, your work, or connect with you, where's the best place for them to go? And we better do one more shout out about that coffee as well.
Well, Electric Java Coffee Company, or Electric Jolt Coffee Company, excuse me. First place, come to my LinkedIn. I'm traveling the world speaking and talking with companies and different events, trade show events all over. I've got about 50 some of them this year. So find me on LinkedIn when I come to New Zealand, not when. I'll be at an All Blacks game, so make sure that you find me there. I'll be the pasty white guy from Wisconsin in all black. It's probably sweating like a dingo or whatever that animal is. So Find me on LinkedIn. Close. I tried. I love connecting with fans and friends and people of any nation, because I will sit down and I will have a coffee with them or a bourbon with them. By the way, that might be my next thing, bourbon. But I just love chit-chatting, answering questions, and hanging out anywhere I am in the world. So find me on my LinkedIn. It's pretty quick.
I love it. I love it. And the LinkedIn, just shout that out there.
It's my Christopher Carter. I'll have it to you for the show notes.
Sounds good. Hey, now, if you're listening to this episode and it got you thinking differently about your business, whether it's sales, systems, or strategy, that is the point. Of course, if you do want help identifying your biggest bottleneck, mapping out your next smart move, you can also book in a free breakthrough session with myself and the Coach Birds team. Thanks again, Chris, for coming on. And to everyone listening, remember, the businesses that win aren't the ones that are doing the most, they're the ones making the smartest decisions. Thanks very much. Let's talk small business. I appreciate you tuning in. If you got value, hit subscribe, like, or drop a comment. It spreads the word and might just help another legend get their breakthrough.